Hello all. Welcome to session 3 of PySpark series. In first two sessions, we have seen how to create a data frame using Python list. Okay, we have first just created the data frame with data, which did not have columns names. Okay, then we added column names only. We did not add any data type. Okay, and then to add data type, we define the schema. So schema, we all know. To define the schema in PySpark, we have two ways, schema DDL and StructType. Okay, fine. Now this was creating the data frame with the Python list. Okay, generally, while working in the industry, we create the data frame from the file stored on some path of storage location. Okay. For example, this is the path. This is Azure Databricks file storage path. Don't worry, Databricks file storage path. Don't worry about the what is Databricks storage and all these things. As of now, just understand this is the path to which my file is stored, and it is this file. Yeah, it is this. It's a simple file having employee ID, employee name, salary. I have just created a kind of a dummy data just to show you how to create the data frame from the file stored at particular location. Okay, so let's see the first variant of this. Okay, what I'll write emp. So first I'll write here in notepad, and then we will go and write it in uh, our databricks. Okay, uh, so here earlier we have used spark.create data frame. Here we will use spark.read. Okay, this is called Uh, reading using standard data frame reader API, or it is also called a builder pattern. Okay, so spark.read. Now, we have to specify format of the file. For example, currently I have CSV. We can have JSON. We can have ORC. We can have Parquet. We can have Avro. We can have Excel. Right? Any format of the file that you want to read, you can put it in format. Okay, format. Now, here, let's go with first option. Let's say we have to infer schema. Okay, let's say we are not define the schema, we are inferring the schema. So we will set infer schema to true. Okay, and here if we see in this file, our first row is a header. Okay, so we will give command to PySpark that consider my first row as header, consider my first row as column name. Okay, so what we will do, header equals to true. Okay, and dot load. So load this file stored at this path. Okay, so this is how we read using standard data frame reader API. When we are not enforcing the schema, we are inferring the schema. Okay, in the end I'll tell you what is the difference between what is performance difference when we are inferring the schema and we are enforcing the schema, right? Let's try to run this. Yeah. Okay, fine. So let me display EMPDF. You, by the time you know how to display, how to show. Okay. Yes. You can see here we have employee ID, employee name, and salary. Three columns we have in the file, same columns we have in the data frame. Let's try to see what is the schema it has inferred. Okay. Print schema. Okay, it kind might have inferred correctly because it is very small data that we are using. Okay, but generally we definitely do not recommend it while working in the industry to infer this schema. We will import this schema. Okay, now this is first variant. This is first variant when we want to infer this schema. Okay, infer this schema. So basically what happens when we are inferring this schema, it reads the file, it reads the data. Okay, Spark has overhead to read the data, and to infer the data type. Okay, so Spark here reads the data, whatever, let's say you have lakhs of records, Spark reads the data, it infers the data type. So that becomes an overhead to Spark. Okay, so what we do, there is second option. Okay, if we want to reduce the load of inferring the schema. Okay, infer schema, but read sample of data. Read sample of data. Okay, for example, I have, let's say, 2 GB data. I want to read only 1% of that data. Okay, so there is this option. This is the uh, I would say code we have used to read the data frame, read full data. Okay. Now, if we want to read only sample of data, in case we don't want to define the schema, this is just for understanding. We generally don't infer the schema, as I said, when we are working in the industry. Okay. So what we do, sampling ratio. I think it is sampling ratio. Let's see if it will work. And that will be, let's say I have to read the 10% of data. Okay. If I have to read the 10% of data of my file, I don't want to read complete data. Okay. For inferring the schema. This is for inferring the schema. This is not the data we are reading as a data frame. This is the data we are reading to infer the schema. Okay. Let's see if this works. We will call it employee df1. Okay. Sampling ratio 0.1. Okay, fine. So here what it will do, it will read 10% of data. For example, I have here how many? 115 rows. So it will read some 11, 12 rows. Okay, to infer the schema, right? This is just one of the variant. Do not worry. It is not used when we are working in the industry. Okay, this is just to give you an idea in case you face any such scenario where you have to infer the schema, but you have huge amount of data. You don't want to read full data for inferring the schema. Please note, this is for inferring the schema. This is not for the data frame data. Okay, data frame will have full data, whatever our file has. We will only read 10% of data to infer the schema. Okay, let's see what it has inferred. Dot display. Oh, sorry, it should be print schema. Yeah, it might have inferred correctly, as I said, because it's a small amount of data, integer, string, integer. That's fine. Okay. So this is second variant while inferring the schema. Now third and appropriate version, enforce the schema. Okay. And as I said, going ahead, we will use type approach to define the schema and enforce it. Okay. So while reading a data frame using standard data frame reader API, have to use the uh, enforce schema option. Okay, so what we'll do first, we will first define the schema. As of now, you definitely aware, okay, if how to enforce the schema using StructType. Okay, StructField. One more thing, if you are trying to prepare for interviews, okay, you try to practice in Notepad writing the syntax. I don't think most of the companies they ask for syntax. Okay, but at least you should have basic idea how we write this, and okay, basic understanding we should have. Each and everything we definitely should not go and check on uh, either chat gpt or on internet, right? It is very confident, it feels confident when you have this idea how to write the correct syntax also, right? We have employee ID, we have employee name as second column. It is string. Okay, this is how you can practice. Okay, and employee salary. Let's say I want to keep it as long. Okay, it has inferred as integer, but I want to keep it as long. Okay, so reading this as it is, will this work? Let me copy. Okay, will this work? This will work because we have already imported type here, right? So again, just a reminder, whenever you are using struct type, you have to import the type. Okay. Now, this is how we have defined schema. We all know now how to use this defined schema while reading a data frame using standard data frame reader API using spark.read. Simple. Don't you know don't go into too much wording things, standard data frame reader API and all these things. No, that's fine. Spark.read. If you know, that is also fine. If you know how to read a data frame when there is a file stored at some storage location, that's fine. You don't need to mug up this is builder pattern or this is standard data frame reader API, not needed, right? Now, here we will need format. Okay, format CSV. Our file format as CSV. Now, we are not going to infer the schema. So these two options are gone because we have defined the schema. Okay, what we'll do? We'll just put it as employee schema. Okay, and our first row is header, so that we will define. Okay, first row is header. Don't count it into the data. Okay, header true. Okay, and load my this file as data frame, right? It's very simple. You practice it in notepad. That is very simple to write. Spark.read.format.schema.option. Okay, in dot option you can specify for header, you can specify for infer schema, you can specify for sampling ratio, right? There are many options we can specify. Going ahead we will understand. Okay, but as of now this is basic thing, right? Let me run ampdf3. Here we have composed the schema. Now I'll show you employee df3 dot display. Yep, you can see, right? And if I see its schema, okay, employee df3 dot print schema, it will be for employee salary. I want it as long. Okay, so as I said, when we are inferring the schema, it is overhead to Spark, right? It is overhead to Spark to read the data and to infer the schema. Okay, so that definitely takes some compute. When we are enforcing the schema, we have total freedom what data types to be specified. Okay, and it's total freedom to the user, to the data engineer, right? One more thing, let's try. Here we have considered header as true. We have defined header as true. Let's try to see what will happen if we don't define this option. Okay, let me write empdf4. Okay, and I'll display empdf4. Display employee df4. Yes, see this one. The first row, it has considered as it has considered that in data. Okay, and if you see emp id, emp name, salary, right? So this is the reason we specify header as true. Header true means the first row of your data, it will take it as header. It will not include that in the data. It will start from second row. It means your data is starting from row 2. Okay. So this is the way how to read the data frame when we have a file that may be in any format: CSV, JSON, XML, Parquet, ORC, Avro, or stored at some storage location. So this is my storage location. Okay, that maybe you can have on-prem storage location in SDFS. Okay, you can have cloud storage location. Okay, you can specify that here and you can read that as data frame. Fine. This code snippet, definitely I'm not going to give you in my description. The reason being, If you try it by yourself, if you practice it, that will be very helpful to you, right? So I'll definitely not try to give this code snippet in this description of this video. Okay. So you try writing this in a notepad and then you try running this in Databricks Community Edition. Okay. That will be very helpful. Fine. Um, do like, share, subscribe if you feel this is really useful, right? And if you feel this will help the community. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next session. Thank you.